Have you ever wondered where to find wholesale cannabis products? The Cannabis Commodities Exchange is the premier wholesale trading platform for licensed cannabis businesses around the country. Each marketplace is unique and all of our wholesale users are verified, so you can be sure you're compliant. Becoming a CCX member is fast, easy, and best of all, free. So sign up and add a wholesale account today at www.cannaexchange.com or call us at 1-800-498-3CCX. Whether you need to sell your surplus or fill your shelves, CCX builds bridges for your business.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome back, family, friends, fellow cannapreneurs. Welcome to the Cannabis Community Project, here for another weekly podcast from the CCP studios high up in Denver, Colorado. Here exploring the business side of this newly emerging Colorado economy, focusing on the business, the patient, the retailer, to the geek in the garage, creating that next innovation. This is the first media platform to help fellow cannapreneurs just like you build sustainable businesses while living the lifestyle. Hey, Cannapreneurs, we're back for another week. Coming up on Thanksgiving, getting close. Are you heading out for the holidays? I'm still debating whether or not I'm going to do a show that week, wondering if anybody will be around to listen. Hey, if you're going to be around, you're listening, drop me a line on Facebook or Twitter or someplace else so I know if I should be thinking about turkey or thinking about putting a show together for that week. Hey, you ready for this week's show? We got another kick-ass show lined up. We got Crystal from Premeir Dispensary Insurance. Talked to her this last week about all the options of how dispensaries, growers, and other such businesses can protect themselves. Not just legal protection. Sometimes we think the only protection these people need are from the law, but the reality is they're a business like any other, and they're going to need basic protection like insurance over their products, employees, and everything else. So we're going to find out how Crystal is making her way through the Colorado market in I would say, an emerging industry, but yet to be taken advantage of fully by the insurance industry. She's just one of a couple people out there focusing on cannabis and getting a business safe and protected. So we're going to find out all about her business and what she's doing in the industry. But before we do that, let's make sure we hit last week's short-term memory flashback. J-Day Statzer wrapping it up at the Hemp Awards out there outside of Boulder. Oh, quite a few weeks ago now, 3-4 weeks ago or so. But we had a whole day out there, got a lot of great clips, talked to a lot of people. I've been bringing you those for the last few weeks, bit by bit, and J-Day Statzer wrapped it up last week. POW Statzer, you can hear that interview, and also listen to him talking about some new stuff in last week's show. Let me give you a little taste of it right now just to remember, and then we'll move on to this week's show. How many plants we're looking at?
Well, Alex grew 1.5 acres, so maybe this would be 1/4 of an acre, maybe.
And this is for research, a little test?
Yeah. Different strain other than just what you would find around here or other places. It's 3 strains being tested for survivability, I guess, really to begin with. And it's branchless, it's just the head, which is how hemp really is when hemp is behaving most like hemp, which you can do with pretty much any. There's so many ways to grow hemp, and to grow hemp without controversy in Colorado by simply saying I don't intend to grow it until it gets any higher than waist high and starts showing its sex. Yeah. Because I'm growing it for energy farming, or I'm growing it for new building materials. Because that would be a fine level to cut it at if you're just doing it for simple, easy to chop herds for hemp housing.
Fraction of the water, land, everything, cycle time.
A guy could literally build his house out of his front yard if he had about a couple acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could park a trailer there and live there for 2 years, maybe even a year. The guy could build his house out of just what he grew on 2 acres.
Well, there you go. I'm sold.
Yeah, which is how I found out about it. Being a pot activist, I heard about it during Jack Here's hemp tour, and it's the first little positive message I was in the ACLU at the time, so it's all prisoners' rights and stuff like that, and it's sort of depressing stuff. And then suddenly this message that yes, addiction can be cured a lot easier than you think in a lot less time than you think. And that's what activism is. It's not just coming together for a party, it's coming together to actually make a change. And to make a change, you have to have it be a meeting. In the 60s, everyone knew I was on the same script. It was very obvious to end the war in Vietnam. And so at the drop of a hat, anyone could start what they would call then riots, but were just public demonstrations. Everybody knew the script. Hell no, we won't go. And when the Vietnam War ended, a lot of those people got into the marijuana movement and started it. The big thing was the annual event. We've been doing it for 45 years in this country. We've had the annual events. So to see a new one start, and this time it's a different twist. This time, you don't have to hide it. This time, the only people that can bust you are the federales, and when you get enough people together, they just don't have the manpower to do that. Although, they'll try to ruin your reputation or whatever, behind your back, do it that way. So we have to have our personal security systems together. We've really got to have that. And one of the great ways, again, is to network with good people here and form community. And that's why I really felt here. I mean, it was just vendors this time, mostly vendors. So that's
you were here since Friday night, throughout all 3 days.
I have been here for the duration. One of the first boots on the ground, and I'll be one of the last boots to leave here. So I'll catch up with you tomorrow. We'll talk more about Ibogaine. I think alternative media, and especially alternative radio, something you can tune on and just listen to in your house, while you're doing the dishes or whatnot, just get live entertainment every week, and live infotainment and live information is good. But I see what you're doing too with making this show really a good organizing rallying point, just a place where people can rendezvous.
Well, I think we'll end it for today.
There he is, POW Stature himself, talking about all the things that need to be talked about, important in the industry, what's going on with the advocate world, and how we should all be involved. Make sure to stay up with him on Facebook or the website Cures Not Wars and get involved in the political side. As we learned about from this last week's elections, politics are important. It is important who you vote for because there is a difference between them. They all have their own ideas, as we heard a few congressmen talk about last week. But we're going to move forward this week and we're going to talk about more business, because let's forget the politics for a minute and let's just focus on business. That's how we're going to dominate the politics, is by getting as many people as possible employed in this industry up and running. Crystal this week is going to show us one piece of it, how you can get that done. Let's listen to her story. In the meantime, here's what we're going to do this week. For all those who want to show their support, I have a quarter of free product, a flower bud of a good quality strain. I'm going to give it away for free to one person out there this week, and possibly every week give out a free one. But I'm going to give it away to the first person to contact me with the best story about your reason to rebel and your reason to be part of the Cannabis Community Project. This free giveaway is sponsored by HMO Plus for all your growing needs. Call 719-569-6529 or visit them at www.hmopluss.com. Remember, I'm creating a store where right from the website, every business that you've heard about, every product that we've talked about, right from the website, as you're listening to my show, you're going to be able to view a page called Store, where you will see every product and service that we've brought through the community.
Dairy Berry's recording studio, located in Arvada, Colorado, with affordable rates, well experienced, and will make your show, music, or any audio you have sound great.
excited to announce we have a new sponsor. Please welcome Cushly Odor Eliminator. You heard them on the show a few weeks ago. Now they've come on board officially as sponsors of the Cannabis Community Project. Give them a welcome. Reach out and say hi. The Cushly?
Cushly.
Here, it looks pretty cool. I think it's actually the odor elimination rather than the perfume or the cover-up. I mean, there's nothing more humorous than walking into a room with a heavy smell of incense. It almost gives away what you're doing.
It pretty much tells you what you're doing. Some people who, take a moment and actually write in and say, thank you, and we really appreciate this product, really making a difference for someone. You can find us very easily. Info at cushly.com.
Crystal?
Hi, Crystal. This is calling from the Cannabis Community Project.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Are you the person I'm speaking to?
Yep. You didn't think it'd be a girl, right? I figured your message said, "Hey, bud."
Oh. You're right.
I was like, okay. So he must not know I'm a woman.
No, not at all.
That's all good.
That's right. And give me your website real quick so I can pull it up as I'm talking to you here.
It's www.premierdispensary.com.
Let's learn about you a little bit. Unfortunately, I didn't have the most amount of time. Usually I like to take at least a week before I talk to people and kind of go through their website and look at their social media and learn a little bit about them. But I didn't really have a lot of time with you, so you're going to have to kind of treat me just like I'm a random individual that met you and knows very little about you, but I'm going to try to learn as much about your business and what you're doing and what you're all about. And if I leave anything out, just feel free to just talk about what you ever want to talk about. Let's learn about you a little bit.
My name is Crystal Medina. I do insurance. I specialize in the cannabis industry. Commercial, general liability, pretty much do it all. But we basically pride ourselves in being the specialist in the industry as of right now.
So you specialize in cannabis-related insurance for businesses?
That's correct.
So I'm looking at the website, PremeirDispensaryInsurance.com, and I see you have a good setup from physicians to landlords, growers, dispensaries. You're conducting due diligence type work, and then you're referring them to actual providers, or are you actually providing the insurance yourself?
Well, that's a really good question. You're probably the first person that's asked me that. We are actually through a wholesaler, which is MMD Insurance. You can probably look them up as well. So we're basically an agent for them, if you will.
Okay.
We write our policies. They underwrite everything for us, but it goes through Lloyd's of London. Well, once you get your policy paperwork and all of that, that's who your policy is actually going to be with.
That's perfect because they're known for insuring the uninsurable type items and things that other companies traditionally don't know how to put a dollar amount on or how to actually insure it. So they're kind of famous for being the insurers of weird and kooky and crazy type things. That's interesting.
Yes.
How did you stumble across that? Did you know somebody in the industry? Were you already working in insurance?
Well, I've been in the insurance industry for about 15 years. I used to work for USAA for many years, and then I did take a break in between, so I guess it could be more like 11 years. I had a baby. I stayed at home for 3.5 years, and then coming back into the workforce, I just dabbled around a little bit here and there, looking for jobs, and then somebody asked me one day, do they sell insurance for cannabis? And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm just thinking, no, I doubt it. Of course, out of curiosity, I'm a very curious person. So I go home and I Google it. and lo and behold, there's insurance for it. So I sent my resume out to about 3 different carriers that I had found online, and only one of them called me back, which is Premeir Dispensary Insurance. And, we talked. I mean, we've never even actually met. We talk to each other every day. I have a remote office, so it's been very interesting. I've learned so much. Definitely beat, working in a State Farm office or anything like that.
Right. You're basically following the same steps as any other insurance provider or agent. You're finding clients to write up policies and then gather monthly premiums from them to cover insurance. But break it down in a little bit more detail, because I'm not real clear, so I'm sure other people aren't real clear. What do you mean when you say you're providing insurance? For whom and what exactly is being covered?
There's several different ones, but just for example, to make this easy, I've got a dispensary here in Denver that I insure, and they have multiple cultivations and multiple dispensaries. So we insure their dispensary for general liability, which is going to cover somebody slips and falls and they injure themselves. We'll pay out for that. And then product liability. So they've got approximately 100,000 of product on site at any given time. So if there was a theft or a fire or anything like that, and they lost all 100,000 of that product, we would cover that. And then moving on to the cultivations that they have as well, we cover the building, again, for general liability, and then we cover the crop. So the crop is done in several different stages, just like the state tracks seed to sale. That's kind of the way our underwriting department looks at it when we're trying to rate. It's hard to rate crop for marijuana. And it's been a struggle over the years, but we definitely have it down to a formula that we're happy with and that our clients are happy with.
So you're saying the insurance industry has an independent way of classifying crops to put a value on them, to put an insurance policy against them? Or are they using a pre-existing provider out there who's evaluating crops and just grabbing those statistics?
I can't honestly say that we haven't used other people's input, because I don't know. But I do know that the one we have formulated to where it is now is ours, and that's what we use for the insurance world.
Is that public information, that type of rating from the industry?
It may be on a certain level,
right.
But as far as our formula goes, that's another good question. I could definitely get that answer for you, though.
The reason I ask is because I'm thinking I'm also a curious person, but a curious person who's always thinking about business ideas. And the second you said that the industry's out there rating the crop, the first thing I thought of is, if that information could be accessible, maybe it could be sold through like a credit report type system, because I also work with another company that does background checks. And they're always looking to access databases and public records and information. So if that was another piece of information that could be accessed and maybe sold off for, $10 to view the credit report rating of a grow house, well, that would add some good marketing play, and it would add a couple more businesses, and it would give more legitimacy also to where your product's coming from and how it was rated. That's just a sidetracked idea. Every time I hear little ideas, I have to spit them out. But please continue.
That's actually a good point. Insurance is so new to us. Auto insurance and homeowners insurance, that's been around for a really long time. So as far as the actuary department, which basically make rates, they've got it down with a fine-tooth comb. They base their rates off of that. They base their rates off of certain vehicles have a number rating. That's based off of the crash rating. That's based off of, other things, how many claims have been paid out for liability on this certain vehicle, because it's just such a big vehicle, it can do more damage.
Right.
Those type of things. And so, we know all of that because auto and homeowners insurance has been around for so long.
Right.
But with the cannabis industry, we haven't been doing insurance that long. So as we continue to get our statistics together, gather more information, and track all this stuff, the rates are going to get better.
I could see your business working well with other information type businesses, to be specific, like the commodities exchange, where they're really trying to make themselves an information business, where having an insurance rating and a kind of an independent person that's out there protecting a crop
can relate to so many businesses. This probably also bleeds over into smoke shops and everybody else down the line that has some type of property or product to protect.
Absolutely.
What exact laws are you operating under? Is there anything different than just the standard insurance industry?
I don't think so. At first I was a little bit leery on even selling cannabis insurance, but basically the way we work is, we abide by the state guidelines. So if you have crops, as long as you're abiding by what the state says that you have to do when you have that crop, you have to have cameras, you have to have fences, you have to have all these certain security measures in place. As long as you have those security measures in place, we can insure you.
So you're just operating as an insurance company that says if it's legal to insure just as any other product, we'll find a way to insure it. And the state of Colorado is saying if you follow these guidelines, this is considered legal product, thus we can insure it.
Exactly. Right on point. Yes.
What type of response have you had so far? I mean, have you been doing door-to-door? How are you getting your message out there?
I've been doing this since March. And that's what I do. I'm in the trenches, doing all the dirty work. I talk to, all the dispensaries. I get in there and I try to get to the main source as best I can. With this industry, it's hard to get to that main source sometimes.
You're literally knocking on doors, literally walking from dispensary to dispensary, trying to talk to the owner.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the response? How are people receiving you?
Well, people receive me very well. My personality is.
I don't mean necessarily you as an individual. I mean the product, the business. Is there a lot of competition? Do dispensary owners go, "Oh, I already have that covered through my normal insurance"? What is the overall response as far as what you're actually out there representing? Not you as an individual. I'm sure you're a lovely person.
Sorry.
With a great personality.
I'm like, everybody loves me. Well, the industry accepts us very well. Number one, they have to have insurance. Does it have to be product and does it have to be crop? No. They have to have a general liability in place. If they're making product, they have to have product insurance. When I was at the NTIA conference this morning, they had a panel of 4. 2 of them were lawyers, and they were drilling the product liability into everybody that was there. There was over 400 people there at the conference today.
This is a statute, something coming from the law when they're talking about how dispensaries have to operate.
Yeah, they were going over a lot of that today. All the guidelines, packaging, labeling, and all of that has to go with product liability. A lot of people think that they don't need product liability, but the truth is people are so happy and don't think that marijuana industry is going to be free and clear of it, because they're not. Matter of fact, we're probably going to be targeted more in the next 10 years.
Is that product liability meaning your plants die and you get reimbursed, or somebody claims they got sick off of your product and that person is covered? Or what do you mean exactly?
Product liability, it's very complex. The main thing is, somebody getting sick off of your product. Another thing we talked about today was, people get spider mites in their crops, and then they put pesticides on it, and then they go ahead and push it out. Well, that's a big no-no. People can and most likely will get sick off of that weed. They're going to get sick. And then the nice thing is the seed-to-sale tracking that we have here in the state of Colorado helps keep track of where that came from. So if you're making infused products and you're getting your bud from somebody else, and let's say you get it from 5 different people, the seed-to-sale tracking tells you exactly who it came from. It kind of breaks it down for us. But to get back to the original question, as far as I know, there's 2 of us in the industry here in Colorado that specialize in cannabis insurance. There's other companies, but as far as an agent on ground, on foot, that's actually physically here in the state, but I know there's a lot of companies that, are with brokerage firms. They can sell the insurance. They just don't specialize in the insurance industry as far as cannabis They can have you fill out the paperwork, but it's better to go with somebody who specializes.
Does that also mean you have a personal history with cannabis, or are you just selling insurance for the industry but not necessarily personally involved?
I would say specializes means specializing in knowing the coverages, what it covers, what it pays out in the event of a claim. You know, those types of details that we work with on a daily basis. You know, someone who's sitting at a brokerage firm selling auto and home, and then someone comes in and wants a cannabis quote, and they pull out the paperwork and go, okay, here, fill this out. Oh, I don't know what coverage that. I think it's this.
Right.
Or it's this, but they just don't know the details about those coverages.
Right.
You know, that's something that you really want to steer away from, especially, you know, Mark Slaw today when he was talking. He said, and I know I've seen this somewhere else, I think in an article, but it's so true. The world is watching us right now. They are. They're watching us, and we have to show them that we're business people. You know, we're board of directors, you know, we're executives, we're bud tenders, we're stay-at-home moms, you know, we're anything in the industry, you know, smokers, I don't care what you are. We're regular people, you know, and we can handle our business just like anybody else.
Right. And it sounds like it's something that is going to be very important, even if it's not fun to talk about. I mean, I don't know too many people that are really excited to talk about their insurance coverage, but, you know.
They're not, you know. It's just like, you know, when I worked for auto insurance and someone would call me and say, my 16-year-old daughter just got in an accident. Is my rate going to go up?
Right.
Do you want to lie or do you want the truth?
Right.
Because, yeah, you know it's going to go up. That's why you just called me. You know, so would you rather have an agent that's going to come in and tell you the truth about your business that you've worked so hard for to get where you are?
Right.
Or would you rather have someone just tell you what you want to hear?
Right. Yeah.
There's a big difference.
And if you have good insurance, like when you get in a car accident, you kind of feel relieved. I mean, you
do.
You feel relieved, whether it's any type of insurance. I know I do. I pay a lot of money for insurances, all the way from legal insurances to health insurances, car insurances, and I overly pay because I know shit happens, for lack of better better terms, from all the way down, from legal stuff to health stuff to car stuff and everything else. And I like the feeling of knowing when it does happen, I'm fully protected, not just a little bit protected, but fully and then some. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know if you grew up wanting to be in an insurance agency, but you are now, you know, and that's what you are. So you might as well make the best out of it. And I think it's a great angle. It sounds like you're going to monopolize the market, at least for a while, until other people kind of clue up that specializing in cannabis stuff is also the way to go. But what's the next step, since you're newly into this? What's the next 12 months for you?
Well, just waiting to see what other states come on board. Colorado, when I came into the business, was pretty much spoken for when it came to insurance. People call me when they're really mad at their agent, or if they had a loss and they weren't covered correctly. I get that call.
Yeah.
You know, I get the call when it's a brand new venture. I get a lot of those. People trying, you know, there's a lot of people trying to capitalize on, you know, what we have going on here in Colorado right now. So, you know, people will just try to come up with anything almost, it seems like, you know, and can I get insurance for this? No, you can't. You know, nope. And I've even tried pushing it through, but I get a decline. So
there are limitations on what can be insured. It's not just a free for all that anything you have under the roof of your dispensary is going to be insured. There's a list. Go ahead.
So for instance, you know, there's you know, like the tourist companies, things like that. I know that they are getting insured. It's just really tough to get a policy for those type of risks. Or somebody might have a courier service, where they're, carrying weed from one place to another. That's a hard one. So those are just a few examples of things that have come my way that have been pretty tough, and some of them we're still pushing for. It's not like we just say no. Sometimes we push our underwriters and we're like, come on, this is a new day and age here. We need to get this through. So we definitely fight for our prospective clients as well.
Well, I commend you for your effort going down this path. And I want to know exactly how an individual like myself can benefit from your products. I mean, I'm not a dispensary. Don't have any real products per se. Do I still need insurance as an individual in the industry, as a patient or as a user or some offshoot business like a podcast?
The only thing that you might want to think about is, I'm thinking maybe professional liability. Sometimes people, they might want to sue you for slander, for saying something bad about them or their company or something like that, but you edit. I don't know if that would happen, but it always could.
But I still might intentionally edit slander into my show. Just because I edit doesn't mean take out all the things that need to be taken out.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I mean, for right now, probably grow houses and dispensaries. Are they looking at prices that are comparable with any other type of business seeking insurance? If I sold, monkey beanie babies, right? I had a beanie baby store and I went out seeking insurance. Would that be any different in what I pay versus having a dispensary or a grow house somewhere?
General liability is not that expensive. When I say that, it could be anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. Now, for a business, that's pretty much standard. I've done business quotes with other companies, and the general liability is going to be high.
So that's $2,500 a month or a year?
No, that's a year, and 25 is normally on the higher end. So, and then of course there's so many other things that go into it. It depends on this, it depends on that. But, starting off, general liability can be anywhere in that range. When it really starts to get expensive is when you add the crop in.
So if you have a store, a crop, a handful of employees, maybe some other types of products, paraphernalia, whatnot, you might have a total package of a few $100s a month premiums that you have to cover. That's reasonable for running a business to cover that many, different items. It doesn't seem unreasonable.
Yeah, it's not too bad. And then we have a company that works with us to do payments. So we can do a 35% down payment and then monthly payments, which makes it a lot easier, especially when someone's starting off a new venture. It makes it a little bit easier for them. So.
Right, you work with them. Do you consider yourself to be an entrepreneur in what you're doing here? Are you kind of venturing out into the world, or is this literally something that just developed out of conversation with a friend and you kind of decide to do it, or are you really an entrepreneur, kind of burning the candle here at both ends?
I do see myself as an entrepreneur. My family is very supportive of what I do. I have 3 kids. My husband's great. He's been there with me with a lot of stuff. I do events, things like that. He helps me get set up. For me, I feel that I am an entrepreneur and I work hard towards it every day. I get no's all day long. I walk in dispensaries, I get no's all day long, but it's worth it for that one call you get and you're able to provide a service for them and they just love you when you're done. You're the best person in the world. All those no's all day just go away. And of course, they go away when I get home with my children too. So
you have 3 children. Are they younger, middle-aged, older?
I have a 14-year-old daughter, a 11-year-old son, and an 8-year-old son.
So what is the conversation about around the dinner table when you talk about your work, your career? What is the conversation like?
My kids are well aware of what I do. We just make sure that they don't talk about it with their friends and with their teachers and stuff like that at school, because people, they might freak out. I feel like I would be doing a disservice to my children. And I don't know, other moms might feel different, but this is just how I feel. I feel like I would be doing a disservice to my children to lie to them about what I'm doing. I leave every day with a T-shirt or with my work shirt, and it's got a marijuana leaf on it. And sometimes they're going to see my business cards around, and that's got a marijuana leaf on it. My 8-year-old was like, Mom, that's a marijuana leaf on your card. And I was like, yeah, it is, son. It is, Well, do you smoke marijuana? And then that's when, with me, at this point, this is where I tell my kids, no. We smoke discreetly. When I feel my kids are old enough, I think maybe I'll tell them. They may know. I don't know. But as far as my career goes, I want them to know what I do and that I'm an advocate for it. And,
yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, you're 97% there as far as the transparency with the children thing. I have a child in home also, 6 years old.
Okay.
I don't have a conversation in the sense of addressing it as a conversation that needs to be had. I do it in home. At times there's friends that come over where it's done around. Just like at times when there's events, parties, and people over, we also have beers, and sometimes we're out places where other people are smoking cigarettes, but there's never a conversation that needs to be had about it. I've never had a conversation about, well, that man's smoking a cigarette and that man's drinking a beer, and, well, daddy's smoking marijuana. I don't address it because I don't want it to be something that someone needs to have a conversation about. And I don't want her looking at it as something that is any different than if we were to come home with a bag of hamburgers and a 6-pack of beer or anything else. To me, it's a matter of integration, just like anything else. I go all the way with it in the sense of it's done around her in many respects, and she sees other people doing it. And it's like anything else that I would tell her. Some things are for adults. Some things are for children, and this is not one of them. And when you become an adult, that's a decision you can make on your own. If you have any questions, you can ask me and I'll answer them to you. My consumption is done in a way where it doesn't pollute the house, but I don't closet smoke. In that, I don't closet smoke, but I don't pollute the house either. It's not like I'm sitting in the middle of the living room and puffing away like a train and, that kind of thing.
A bong.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think what you're doing is wonderful. If you make it a big deal, it will be a big deal. That's something my husband says all the time. If you make, just like when your kid falls and they hurt themselves and then you go, oh my God, and you make it this huge deal when really that's what makes kids think that it's bad.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, they've been asking questions like, Mom, what's that? And so, after 6 months of wearing a marijuana shirt to work every day, and seeing the cards, well, you got to answer some questions, So my kids are like CIA. So
they'll put the spotlight on you, and they'll get the answers.
Yeah.
Well, there's a group. I was just talking, young girl that I spoke to last week. She runs up a little organization, Moms for Marijuana. I think there needs to be not necessarily a support group, but there just needs to be more openness in that sense. Like, whatever, moms for marijuana, dads for marijuana. I think we all just need a little by little just keep being more aggressive in being open about it and just letting people know, you need to grow up. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way the world is.
Agree. Yeah. It's a new world.
It is a new world. It's an exciting world. I'm excited to see all the businesses that are going to come and so many people coming to the state just to be involved in business. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where you just have to be part of the industry and hang on, and and things are going to happen because there's so much growth that's going to keep happening for many, many years. As you know, you just got to hang on. Hang on to the insurance. I just got to hang on to the podcast, and other people just got to hang on to what they're doing. You know,
it can be tough at times. This industry it's not cupcakes and clouds and Care Bears. You know what I mean? It's like you get out there and it's tough. Is it worth it? Heck yeah, it's worth it. I love my job, but it's tough. It's the toughest job I've ever had, ever.
I think those would be great names for new strains, Care Bears and Clouds.
Oh, that's funny.
Well,
yeah, so I just wanted to say, I got to watch Tripp, the owner of Dixie Elixir, speak today.
Oh, nice.
And just a few phrases and things that he threw out there that I thought were really good, maybe for people like us. He said, you have to adapt and overcome because this industry changes every day, And then another word he used, which I thought was hilarious and great, he said, with his competitors, he called them guapetitions. I thought that was funny. So afterwards, I shook his hand and introduced myself. And I told him those are great sayings. And he said they call them Tripp-isms around the office.
Right.
I thought that was pretty funny.
As like internal motivation and kind of things that to help everybody kind of keep thinking the same thought patterns and keep moving in the same direction. Yeah. And I watched a panel. It might have been him or somebody else, also from that same organization, about a month ago, with a couple congressmen and a panel of a couple people speaking, and you could really see people just taking their stance of, this is what I know I'm supposed to say, this is what I'm going to say, and you could see it, especially with a lot of they had two I guess, anti-marijuana people up there. I don't know. One was a congressman and the other was a lady from some organization. But a lot of the phrases are so canned and preconceived, and you're not even really listening. You just know when you're supposed to speak, and it's always the same line over and over. I see the balance, though, where you need to speak real, but at the same time, you have to keep getting the same message across to people. I mean, in a sense, it's kind of like sales, right? You gotta be genuine and real, but you got to keep kind of saying the same message over and over. It's a tough line to walk out there, whether it's politics or business. I don't know.
Yep.
I don't know. It can be exhausting sometimes.
It can. I know the feeling.
Are you also in Arizona?
No, I'm out of Colorado Springs. My page is Colorado Leaf of Legends. So I've got, this is just basically like my business fun page. I do activism stuff on there. I'm the sponsorship coordinator with Grow for Vets. So I'm always, posting stuff for that.
What's the Grow for Vets?
Grow for Vets is an organization where we give free cannabis to veterans that have PTSD.
Oh, nice. That's what I want to do with the show here, too. How are you doing the logistics on that? How are you acquiring it? Are you purchasing, or do you have growers growing?
I don't know exactly how that works, so I wouldn't be the one to answer that question.
Because that's what we want to do, too. We want to support on the show that same cause. Cannabis for vets with PTSD, but we're thinking of selling something and then using the money to buy the cannabis and then give it away for free.
That's kind of how we're set up. I'm just not 100% sure, and I don't like answering questions. That's why you always hear me throw that up. I'm not 100% sure, because I'm not, so I just don't like to do that. So
right. What else
Yeah.
have we not talked about? What have we missed?
Maybe a interesting tip. When we were at the conference, they said there's a gap in any companies in the industry that are serving pre-rolls.
Uh-huh.
Some food for thought for some entrepreneurs.
What do you mean they're serving pre-rolls? There's a gap.
So there's really not many people or no one that is selling pre-rolled joints, I guess.
In packs?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if that's something maybe somebody might think of getting a niche on that, you know, there's a bit of a gap there in the industry right now.
I could see that being a fairly easy business to set up. I mean, all you would need is a couple rollers, something to put them into little cigarette pack type things, little packs. I mean, that's all seems like pretty basic machinery. I don't know why that business doesn't already exist, because that doesn't seem like very difficult technology or machinery or anything else to get a business like that started.
Yeah, I'm wondering, because I mean, you could definitely get your product liability on that with the insurance.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And it could really just be a distribution company. You don't necessarily need to be a grower of your own product. You can just be the packager, the person who has the machinery to do the rolling and the packaging, where people bring you their product, right? Like maybe a dispensary wanted to brand their own kind of cigarette pack or joint pack. And
that's a good idea.
So they send a pound of shake or whatever to the packaging company. The company rolls them, packages them, puts their design logo on the pack, and then sends them back, and invoices them for that process, where they're not really the owners or the growers. All they are is the packagers, just like any other company that was just a packager or a distributor. I mean, that's some pretty basic investments. Probably a few $1,000s, and somebody that maybe understands machinery could probably get that going pretty easy. That's
or they could go on the marijuana show, do the Shark Tank.
Is there a show?
They were actually at the conference today. I got to meet the two ladies who host that show, the marijuana show.
And that's what their theme is, like a Shark Tank type idea?
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have to look it up. The marijuana show. Yeah, they're already going on their second season, and it's here in Colorado.
Because I love Shark Tank. I watch everything Shark Tank. I even went back and watched the first 8 seasons of Dragon's Den.
Oh wow!
Because I love Shark Tank so much, and I even started watching like the Australian version, the British version, watched all the Canadian version.
Oh gosh, you would love this then. Yeah, the marijuana show. They were there at the conference today. I don't know if they'll be there tomorrow. It's funny. I walked up and I handed him my card, and she was like, "So, how much money do you need for your company?" And I'm like, No, I just wanted to meet you guys.
Oh, you should have thrown out a number. You should have thrown out like $10,000.
I know, right? She was like ready to put me live on the show, like right there. And I'm like, oh no.
Ooh, maybe that was your chance. Maybe that was like, when you walk over the beach, over the treasure chest on the beach, maybe that was the moment you were supposed to say, yes, $50,000.
I know, right?
I'm one of only 2 companies specializing here in the state. We could monopolize the whole market in less than 6 months.
With some marketing money, yeah, definitely.
Get her number. Well, this looks cool. I'll have to look into this more. Did we learn everything about you? Where you came from? What you're about?
Well, I'm a military brat, so I'm from all over. Other than that, I think we pretty much handled it all.
Okay.
I've been here in Colorado about 3/4 of my life. So
okay.
I can almost call myself a Coloradan.
That's the way I feel. I wasn't born here, but I've lived most of my life here. So
yeah.
I definitely feel very much at home here in Colorado also. Very good. Well, we need to stay connected.
For sure.
You're officially part of the Cannabis Community Project now. You're part of the community here. And then
thanks for having me on.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I actually listened when you had Soham on. He's one of my acquaintances
you know
through
him.
the industry. Oh, yeah. He's a great guy. Me and my husband love Soham. He's great. He actually came out to one of our Grow for Vets events. That was September. Yeah. And it was on his birthday. He showed up on his birthday and was doing charity work.
Well, there you go. He's a great guy. And
he is. He's awesome.
And I've done a couple shows with him.
Yeah.
So if you've only listened to one, there's another one.
Your shows are, I guess, like a breath of fresh air when it comes to radio shows.
Oh, thank you.
In the industry right now, because you take the business side of it, you know, and, you know, there's a lot of us in the industry who are business people. For some reason, people have this notion that we're just like a bunch of thugs. And just think of it this way. Your show is shedding light on the part of the industry that we really need light shed upon right now.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate that, you know, because everybody, like I said, people have this notion of people in the industry, you know, but we're just like anybody else. We're parents, we're moms, we're business people, we're executives, and your show is shedding light on that. So keep doing what you're doing, man. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And
you know, I wouldn't have even known about you if it weren't for Soham. So, okay. Like you said, you know, we just got to keep, you know, with the social media, extending out the invitations on each other's pages, and just making sure everybody knows about you, and because you're doing a great job.
And I really appreciate that, because you don't really know who's listening. You know, looking at a Google Analytics or at some type of statistics on a web page doesn't put a voice or a face or a person to it. You know, you see numbers, and it's hard to really gauge, like, what does that mean? What does that mean when X amount of people listen? I don't know it. So when I hear somebody says, oh, hey, I heard your show and this is where I heard it, and it's somebody that I don't personally know, it's a truly gratifying feeling, and it really makes me happy, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much. Please keep sharing and telling other people and all that, because I want to make it the best show as possible, and I want other people to be involved in the show, and I want people to have a voice in it. I want everybody to have a voice in it and feel like it's a community show that people have access to, whether they just want to listen or whether they want to be on it and part of it. I'm happy, and hopefully I'll get very close one day to being able to turn it into a full-time gig. And drop all the other projects and jobs and part-time this and part-time that, you know, little by little, just like you and just like Soham and everybody else that I've talked to. Little by little, everybody's moving forward, just hanging on.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Cool.
Okay, right. Cool. Sounds good. Well, you take care and have a good evening.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's show. Make sure to come back next week. We're going to have more guests lined up, speaking with dispensary owners, growers, business owners. Make sure to follow us on all of the social media, Facebook, Google+. You can listen to our shows live from the website or your preferred listening platform. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spreaker, even YouTube, all under the same name, CannabisCommunityProject.com. We'll see you next week.